welcome back to the next episode of Pokemon Jade and Obsidian. I'm slightly going to be switching up my presenting style on this, hopefully improving it. I've put a lot of work into this and I've redesigned the evolution of Volo because I didn't really love it. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my new presenting style and the video. So you wake up after the big feast that you had last night, where Jake comes in and he tells you that you're late for the bus and you've got to get on immediately. Now, this being said, you've got no idea where you're going, but you arrive with your friend in the middle of the capital city, evidently. But all of a sudden, it comes up on a news billboard that the gem that you brought to the museum has been stolen. You guys are wondering your purpose for being there when you see someone pulling out of the bus. It's Professor Sycamore. It turns out he was an old friend of Professor Sirius and you've got to escort him to his hotel. He takes you to an alley and offers you one of the 3 Kanto starters. I'm sorry, I had to do it, basically every game does it at one point. But you see a bright flash, and then when the light dims, you see a Team Zenith visor over Professor Sycamore's face. He pulls out a Garchomp and you have to start battling him. The Garchomp easily takes down lots of your Pokemon, and just as things are looking bad, you pull out your starter. They stare each other down for a few seconds, and then the gem that you wear around your neck starts glowing and showing up with a strange symbol. It turns out your starter has just experienced their first Pokemon overload. Pokemon Overload and Tritypes are kind of like Dynamax and Gigantamax. Overloads being the Dynamax, Tritypes the Gigantamax. They're really broken though. Basically, an Overload Pokemon's base stat total will double, and if they have multiple types, any of their moves can be any of their types. But if it's a Tritype, then it will gain a 3rd type and a new signature move. I know, really broken. So here's an example of a Tritype battle happening, where you can see Paravito Trityping. Now you can change the types of any of your moves, so you could have a fighting type Gust for example, and then there's also a 5th signature move. Any Pokemon that's undergone this energy transformation can do this, so yeah, it's really broken. Eventually with your new power, you beat Sycamore's Garchomp though, and his visor fades away. But it looks like thanks to that really hard battle, some of your Pokemon are evolving. For example, the regional bird, your Emud. And it looks like your Emud has evolved into Mostrich, the coordination Pokemon, a ground and fighting type, first regional bird without the flying type. Mostrich can be seen commonly running through arid environments, however they're constantly in search for a damp place to call home. They've been recorded running up to speeds of 20 miles per hour. Additionally, it looks like your Peblian is evolving. Your Peblian looks like it's evolved as well into Gritizin, the Grit Pokemon. Now that the marble case that used to cover Gritizin is broken, it's free to grow. Small veins of ore grow within its body, and every so often one will pop out. Sometimes they can cause cracks in Gritizin's body to form. Hope you're satisfied with your new evolutions as you make your way back to the hotel, where Professor Sycamore says goodbye, and you all decide to go out to one of the wild areas in this city, like in Lumia City. Here are some of the old Pokemon, including ones that I've made, and then there are some new ones that you'll find. For example, Galarius, the ethereal Pokemon, a water and ghost type. They live in the deepest parts of the ocean and were only recently discovered. They've been thought to be brought to Cordonia City to be observed. They don't seem to move much, but when threatened can let out a huge flash of light. I'm also a fan of adding new non-seen-before type combinations, so I made Manati, the viscous Pokemon, a normal bug type. Manati were the first discovered normal and bug type Pokemon. They used to live in the jungle and feed off the hives of Combi, however they've recently started to appear in more urbanized areas. Lastly, we've got Camexic, the deceptive Pokemon. Now, contrary to popular belief, Camexic can't actually camouflage. It releases a toxic gas, making its prey temporarily lose its eyesight. However, they've never been known to attack humans. It's based on a scrapped Pokemon from Generation 6. The next day, you and Sycamore go into town. He leaves to look at a museum, but you head to the gym. It looks like an old run-down amphitheatre. You go to the lobby, and then you find your rival there. They want to test your strength, so they battle you, using Volek, their starter, and Maractus. Now there's a new one that you haven't seen before, Volek, my Pikachu clone and the Nuzzle Pokemon, an electric and ice type. These Pokemon live in huge colonies several meters down in burrows in the snow. They're constantly being hunted by Hisuian Zora and Zoroark. They were thought to live in the Alabaster Icelands, but were so timid they ran away when the snow lightly shifted. You end up beating your rival and they congratulate you. You go on to the gym challenge, where you meet a trainer with a Hisuian Sliggoo, a Dragapult and a Dracovish, representing the Creation Trio. Since there are Dragon types, it's obviously a normal type gym. And the gym leader seems to look quite similar. That's right, it is Volo. He has survived for the past approximately 500 years. He's learnt a lot in this time. He still worships Arceus like crazy, but he's become the normal type gym leader and he chooses to battle you. His team consists of a Capewardle, a Tedempty, and a Mielati. Now, Tedempty is the stuffed Pokemon and a normal type. They have the unique ability to gain a secondary type depending on the item that it keeps in its chest cavity, and they're said to feel empty without it. Volo's Tedempty will be holding an item that's the type of one good against your Pokemon. For example, if it's a fire type, it would be holding Mystic Water. And then there's his ace, Mielati, the evolved form of Menati, and also the Viscous Pokemon. They only tend to live in cities and they lead a troop of Menati. They also take advantage of the hive around their upper body and send the insects in it off to steal food. But that is not all that Mielati can do, as it has a Tritype. With its 3 types of normal, bug and dark, it's really a force to be reckoned with, and its new signature move that prevents the Pokemon from switching out. You end up beating Volo and getting the normal badge, where he congratulates you and gives you a new item that seems familiar, telling you to give the next gym leader a thrashing for him. Thank you very much for watching that video. I really hope you enjoyed it. There's a bit more stuff that I'd like to uncover in the next one. I'm still getting used to this new editing style. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed it, and please subscribe because it's all me doing this work.